Hey guys, welcome to the Planning Prerogative. I am Michelle.
And I'm Christina.
We are your wedding gurus, and today we are going to sit down and talk with some special guests from Opus One Custom Music, and they are going to talk to us about live music at your wedding and events. Hey guys, today we have some special guests with us. We have Brian and Sarah with Opus One. So could you tell us a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us on the show today. We are Opus One, and what we do is we write custom music for weddings and other special events, and we also take care of all the talent hiring and logistics behind it. We feel that there is a shortage of new music for events, and we want to solve that issue by providing our clients with custom written music specifically for them and for their event space.
That's one of the coolest parts about it too, is that you write custom music. So tell us a little bit more about that. How did you go about that?
One of the things we've noticed just when we got married, that whole process, and friends and family members who have also gone through the wedding planning process, is that brides, it's often the brides, will customize every single aspect of their wedding, has to capture their personality with their spouse perfectly, or their spouse to be. But oftentimes music just gets forgotten. And people will pick pieces that have been played so many times, and while sometimes there's a real emotional connection with that, oftentimes it's just being done because it's what's always been done. So we thought, well, why not have that next level of customization to really capture the sound of your day and to tell your story in a way that no other medium can.
And it's also a unique, one-of-a-kind love story memento for your marriage and for your celebration. All of our music has never been played before. It's a premiere at your event, but it's also your soundtrack for your love story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like today we were listening to music while we were working, and the song that I walked down the aisle to played.
For the fifth time, and she's like, hey, I walked down the aisle to this. And I'm like, yeah, I know, Michelle. So
She's like, you say it every time it comes on the
it
radio. But it's like me and like 500 other million girls walk down the aisle to that song. So another thing you do is also find musicians for couples for their weddings.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So we also, in addition to writing music, I think it's more of a peace of mind that we offer, in that knowing once you book with us, we've taken care, or will take care of all the logistics musically. You don't need to worry about finding musicians, hiring them, paying them, how much they cost, any of that. We take care of all of that. So wherever your event is, we find local talent to provide performance at the event.
And since we're professional musicians ourselves, we know who is legit and who's not, so you won't ever have someone who claims to be a fantastic guitarist show up at your wedding and, oh my goodness, he can't actually play. That will never happen with us.
That's always the worry, is like, what is the actual product going to be?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you guys are local to Bloomington, Indiana, but you find people. How far out would you go for your...
Currently nationwide, possibly international at some point.
Wow.
But right now, just nationwide.
Okay, so somebody anywhere, if you're watching this and you're getting married in California, they can help you find musicians. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about the type of music. I know you were talking about how people can kind of almost replicate famous music and get away with it and like customize it for you.
So we sometimes get requests for music in a certain style or genre, or I really like this, can you do this exact same thing for us? But because of copyright, and because also we believe that original work is important and adds more to the event, we can work sometimes to get very close aesthetically via rhythm or dynamics or instrumentation to what they're looking for without actually giving them the same thing again. So we can get close to an aesthetic that people are looking for, but also still give them something new, which is really important to us.
That's really cool.
We have an example of this coming up in the next year. One of our brides absolutely loves The Lion King, and she's always envisioned herself walking down the aisle to music that sounds very similar to When Simba Ascends Pride Rocks. So no request is too weird or fantastic. We are working creatively to get the essence of that sound without actually stepping on Disney's toes and riffing it illegally. We won't do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So tell us a little bit about where you guys come from and how this all got started.
I grew up in Pennsylvania. Sarah grew up in Missouri. We met in grad school. We're both musicians by trade. And this kind of got started from doing our own wedding, and then also just kind of as a side hobby, side hustle, just something that we enjoyed doing and just kind of did whenever we could. And then from that, and from working with our now employee, we decided to go forward and actually create a business out of it.
That's so cool. And what brought you to Bloomington?
We're both in school currently in Bloomington.
Okay, in
Yes.
Bloomington.
Yes.
The
Awesome.
IU
Music school?
Music School.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Okay. Cool. That's what brings most people to
Yeah, it is. But
Bloomington.
bring most people to Bloomington is the university.
Yeah.
We get a lot of our brides that come back, grooms and brides,
Yeah. Meet
from
here.
all over, and they come back to plan their wedding here. Okay, so why do you guys think that live music is a good option for weddings versus, say, a DJ who can play like an array of different styles?
So when it comes especially to the wedding ceremony, there are so many other times in life and events in life that have pre-recorded music. Now there's nothing wrong with the DJ. If that's what the bride is looking for and wants at the wedding, absolutely no problem. But if you think about how many times just in ordinary life you hear pre-recorded music at the grocery store, at a sporting event, at a movie theater, it's so often the main medium through which we hear music. If you want to make your day stand out and be a little bit special and that extra element of you uniquely there, we strongly believe that live music is the only way to truly capture that, and eventually perhaps there will be, but right now there is no substitute for live music. The acoustic phenomena of having live instruments play is something that has not yet been replicated otherwise. So it adds that special element that cannot be found anywhere else.
It has live music that has this almost three-dimensional quality to it that pre-recorded music just can't achieve. And yes, as Brian said, maybe someday it will, but that's probably not going to happen within the foreseeable future. Another really important piece about having live musicians at a ceremony especially is that you're coordinating the acoustics with physical movement. So if you have a recording playing and someone doesn't walk down the aisle when they're supposed to, or the groomsmen were chit-chatting and they lost track of time and didn't come in off the sides, you are kind of at a loss because you can't change the recording once you press play. However, if you have live musicians, they're watching all of this and they're catching on cues, and they will make all of those blips seamless and no one will even know there was a blip.
Well, I know my brother had a live band at his reception, and the dynamic of it is so different than having a DJ. It's very interactive. You know, the dance floor was popping, and everybody was like joining in, and it is such a different element than having, say, a DJ even playing the same songs. It's completely different, and it brings a whole nother aspect to the reception. But I was thinking too, for budget-conscious brides, like having ceremony music versus having, if you can't afford to have a band for your reception, a harp or a violinist or something at your ceremony adds that little element in, and it takes it to a different level. I feel like.
Yes.
I think it gets people all included, and you just feel like you're at an event. Like, I mean, even if you are at an event when people are getting married.
It marks the space.
Yes,
something
there you go.
extraordinary and something
Right.
special.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know how to,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's completely different ambiance and just feel when you have live music.
This probably isn't the proper place, but it makes me think of the Titanic, which is like my favorite movie. You have them playing the music, and it wouldn't have been the same if it was like recorded while everybody's
No.
But
singing.
they would still be alive.
And you had mentioned two budgets, but comparatively, we're not much more expensive or right in the ballpark as far as a DJ would go.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to save money and not doing live music route, if you do a solo or maybe a duet, you would have about the same amount of cost.
So you guys put out a monthly music notes. That's like your monthly newsletter. So this month you talked all about solos and trios. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you choose? What's the difference?
And
All that fun
duos.
stuff. And duos.
And
What do I
duos
do?
as well.
Oh, it's solos. Yeah.
Absolutely. So every month we put out a newsletter we call our monthly music notes, and this month we focused on the different ensemble types. We wanted to kind of demystify what to look for when you're looking at ensembles, and basically what it comes down to is ensembles are classified basically how many musicians are in it. So solo for one, duo or duet for two.
It's not very creative.
It's not very good. Trios, quartets, quintets are 5, and then there are ensembles bigger than that, like sextets.
I saw that on here. Yeah, you have
My
like,
favorite is the
Symphony.
dodetet, which is
my
12
gosh.
musicians.
Oh, I've never.
Um,
crazy.
Or maybe that's 10. I was getting mixed up.
How far do they go up? I mean,
So-
do you have like 30? Is there a name?
Then it
Absolutely.
would probably just be called something
Ensemble.
band.
Yeah, band.
Okay.
Anything beyond 10 or 12, you usually just
Yeah.
call it
That
X,
makes
Y, or Z ensemble or orchestra or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Cool. So, what's the differences like when you're considering live music for your ceremony? When might you consider like one versus the other?
So in the beginning of this article, I talked about the word timbre. It looks like timbre, but it's pronounced timbre.
I
And
did
it's
see that.
what a sound sounds like. And that combined with considering your event space, I think is the two ways you need to kind of address that question. And looking at how much space you need to fill acoustically and also what type of space it is and what you want it to sound like. If you're playing an outdoor wedding and it's 250 guests, one violinist isn't really going to cut it unless you amplify them heavily. Even a quartet, like a string quartet, might not make the cut if it's outdoors. So considering the space and size-wise and also acoustically will kind of dictate what musicians and what instruments you need to have playing to make it
Like, for
effective.
example, why a string quartet isn't as effective outside, and we've seen this in action, unless you have a sound shell which is built up around them, and these are modular, so it's not out of the question to have one of these brought in. That will push the sound out in the direction of the audience. If you don't have that, it will just dissipate and go heaven knows where. So strings, just by the nature of how the instrument's constructed, the sound is much smaller, it's within the performing space, and it's not directional. Brass instruments, by nature of the way the horn is shaped, are very directional. So you could probably get away with a small ensemble of brass instruments outdoors without the assistance of a sound shell because the sound is being pushed out.
Yeah. Now, how common is that for ceremonies like and brass?
Not as common
Yeah.
as strings.
Yeah.
Though
Yeah.
we had 8 trombones play at our wedding, I think, in Oregon.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was heavy hitting.
That's awesome.
We did a wedding this past summer actually, and it was they wanted a string trio outdoors, and unfortunately a little bit of the sound did get eaten up into. They were just on grass,
And the wind will push it
the
away.
wind blew it away. The grass and the dirt just ate up some of the sound, and because
And
of
the
the
people,
size.
like
And
the
the
amount
people.
of people.
Exactly. A venue changes
Yeah.
based on how many people in the room. So like you sound check on an empty room and then at full like max capacity, it sounds way different. That's something to also consider as well because it might sound great now, but all of a sudden you can't hear it when it's full,
Yeah.
which would be
Makes a lot of
unfortunate.
sense.
Yeah.
I guess horns and stuff is a lot more for reception,
Mm-hmm.
like jazzy bands, and I want to we need to get one of our couples right now to do some live music. I'm ready to do we haven't done live music in a while.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
yeah. COVID. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
I think
helping.
live
Yeah.
music is great at events. It's
Yeah.
just so much more fun and interactive.
It adds a level of personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because each instrumentalist usually will get,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
fun, and they end up being wedding guests almost.
Right, yeah.
They enliven the room in a way that speakers just can't. No matter how good your DJ is, the speakers are never going to get out there and dance and have fun.
Yeah.
Just-
You never feel like Lady Gaga's in the room.
no.
No. Yeah.
So tell us more about how you guys create custom music for brides and grooms.
The first step in the process, we sit down kind of like this on a one-to-one and just get the who, what, when, where, everything that's going on, and also the venue as well. It's really important that we can take that into consideration when we create music. We go back to our studio, we use a program called Sibelius to write all the music, and to ensure that our music we're writing matches what you had in mind, we meet with you along the design process. So we'll go back and basically come up with, instead of color swatches, musical swatches.
Okay.
We'll come back to, here's some options, pick what you like. From that, we take whatever ideas you say okay to or no to and expand on them. Basically create the entire piece of music, and we come back again and say, here's also what we have, does this match? And we can tweak things from there, do kind of a final edit. And then the third meeting is, this is the final proof if there's anything else you want to get changed. But for the most part, not to brag, but we hit the nail on the head. And beyond the second, maybe 1.5 meeting, we pretty much are on track with what the client's looking for.
I'm curious about how long does that process usually take? Like, when should people reach out to you to start that process?
The more time, the better. It depends on exactly what they're looking for. If it's a larger ensemble or a unique ensemble, it can take a lot longer to find musicians and get them available.
Yeah.
As far as writing the music goes, the more musicians, usually the longer the project takes, but not always. So ideally, time-wise, we could probably do a turnaround in about 3 months, but anywhere from 8 months to a year would be preferred. Just with the aspect of customizing music, it's tricky sometimes. It doesn't always come right away, writing music, so sometimes it's helpful to have a little more time to sit and let things meditate on.
Marinate, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you who are not familiar with Sibelius, what Sibelius is, and that's probably most of you, it's a music writing software that you can type in the notes via keyboards and the actual notation comes up on the screen. And then the way clients are able to hear these musical color swatches is through the MIDI program. So remind me again what that stands for.
Music Instrument Digital Interface. It's basically a database of musical sounds. They sample all the instruments, the different notes they can play, the different sounds they can make, and then that correlates to basically the note on the page, and it plays back the sound.
So you'll get a little MP3 file of what this thing will sound like, computerized, but it gives you a fairly consistent idea of, obviously, volume-wise, the balance will be off, but you'll get an idea of the overall aesthetic of the thing.
That's neat.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that the program is very smart, but there are things that it can't do that a musician would. Again, going back to live sound being
Right.
super important, there's nuances that a musician can create that the computer just can't replicate perfectly.
Like breath-wise and like
Exactly.
how hard you push on
And the
things
articulations
and-
will sound clunky, or a bass line's supposed to be on a quieter dynamic than the melody line, but it doesn't know that, so you have this tuba just blasting a line out and it's covering up everything on top.
Yeah,
That type of thing.
that makes sense.
So do you find that couples come to you for music creation, like for creating new music, more for like ceremonies, walking down the aisle? Is there like a certain thing that you find people want customized more than anything?
It's more the ceremonial side of it.
That's
how
the
it
most
got
popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it got started. I have a background in military music, so from that aspect, that's kind of what we were aiming to create. And most of our work has been the ceremonial side of it. That aspect is a little more personal, a little more intimate usually than the wedding reception.
Because it's your anthem.
It's
You're
your
standing
anthem.
there and you're walking down, and you want it to, like an extension of your gown and your veil, you want it to just complete the look, if you will. And
That's
stick in
amazing that
your
you can
memory.
get like your own songs. Like people are like, "What did you walk down the aisle to?" And it's like my
song
custom
created.
song.
Yes.
Well, in addition to that, what we provide our clients with is not only the music at the event, but we also give them a very nice printed out hard copy of their score,
That's really cool.
which most of our clients frame, hang on the wall.
Yeah.
And it really is a keepsake memento.
Wow.
And we have the additional option to have a professional recording made in a studio of your piece, so you can go back and play whenever
Very
you
So
want.
if you don't want to listen to the MIDI sounds for forever,
Right.
absolutely, we can have a studio quality, either audio or video, basically like your own music video of the piece being performed.
That's
cool.
so neat.
That was cool.
I wish that was like I knew about that when I got married. Like
There's always anniversaries.
Yeah, and then we would have to, you'd have to play it to tell me that that's the song you walked down the aisle to.
Yeah, I think that's really, really neat. So when you guys are creating music, you're usually creating like one song for the couple. Like you don't create like a whole wedding worth of songs.
It depends on what the client is looking for. We've done weddings where it's just the bride's processional. We've done weddings where the bride and the groom have their own unique processional. We did a really cool one where the bride had a theme, the groom had a theme when he came out, and then at the end for the recessional, we interweaved the themes together.
That's cool.
So yeah, they showed the joint there.
And then bridesmaids often will get their own set of themes or a singular theme.
Yeah,
You can even have the grandmothers have their own theme as they walk down if you wanted.
that's kind of cool.
What about first dance? I would
I
think
was
that would
thinking
be.
We can do that
Yeah.
too.
So basically, the easiest way to answer your question is anything musical you can think of relating to the wedding, we got you covered.
Yeah.
Most of what we've done is a recessional and processional kind of package, but we've also done, like I said, where the bride had a theme and the groom had a theme, and we've also done ones where, as Sarah said, the bridesmaid and the wedding party had a theme, then the bride had a theme, and then the recessional also was a different theme. So it really just depends on what the client's looking for and how we can best fit the music into what they're looking at.
And we haven't seen this done yet, but it's a thought that I've had. You could send your lyrics, well, they would become lyrics, you could send your vows into us, and we could set the vows as lyrics to your first dance song if you
That would
wanted.
be really cool.
That would be awesome.
We've set Bible verses to the music so far,
Yeah.
but yeah, the vows would be a great idea. We haven't had the chance to do it yet.
That's
That
so
would
cool.
be
You planted the seed.
amazing.
Now
Yes.
I'm gonna look
It's
for
an
somebody.
idea.
Yeah, right.
I mean, first dance and father-daughter dance are like some of the hardest ones for brides to like pin down because they are recycled so much, and you know you want to be unique and different. That is, oh my gosh,
And then
That
the
would
song,
make people cry.
Yeah, and the song you pick, you won't also hear at the grocery store.
Yeah.
it's your song.
I think like especially like a father-daughter dance, like that would be so amazing, like so unique and personal.
She's all excited now.
We just gotta have weddings again.
We would start
Yes, we
planning.
do.
Oh my gosh, this. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for our first bride to do that. I want to be part of the
That's
process.
funny. That's funny. Cool. So, so how can people find you? Where are you guys at? Online, all that good stuff.
The best way to find us is just through our website. It's www.opus1custommusic.com. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, and you can get in touch with us through the website or through email or phone calls.
All those links will be in the show notes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my gosh.
You're lost for words. I can see it. You're like, what do I got?
Where words fail, music often succeeds.
I love that. I love that.
That's where
I
we
love
come in.
that. It's perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for
you.
joining
Thank you for
us.
having us.
Yeah.
This is so exciting because for us as planners now, we have this new thing that we can offer, and I just can't wait to start doing weddings with you guys and getting all this live music out.
Bye-bye, COVID.
Yes. Good riddance.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave some comments below, and we will see you soon.